Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our Friday live question and answer class, where I take your questions regarding American English pronunciation, American accent, anything to help you improve your overall communication in American English. I want to start class today by talking a little bit about something called compound nouns. And what I mean by a compound noun is that it has it's a noun that's like basically two nouns that could stand alone put together. So for example, football and suitcase, each of these are two nouns put together to make one new noun. And what I want to talk about is how we say these words in terms of the intonation or the stress patterns. So words typically will have one or more stressed syllables, usually just one, and then the other syllables will be shorter and unstressed. It is true for football and suitcase that we do have first syllable stress. So we stress foot and suit a little more than we do ball and case. But football, I'm actually stressing both parts of this compound word. So I'm just a little more on the first syllable, a little less on the second, versus something like footing, you can hear there's no stress on the second syllable. My only clear vowel in the word is on the foot part, and then the ing is like tacked on after. So football versus footing, you should hear kind of blah, blah versus blabba, blabba. That's not the best model, but you get the idea. I'm trying to show length and clear vowel on both syllables of the compound noun versus length and clear vowel on the first syllable, and then reduced vowel and no length on the second syllable. Similarly, for suitcase, I have a clear A vowel, some stress on the second syllable as well as the first, versus something like suitor just has a little light for that second syllable, and suit is the only place I have the clear vowel and length. So you'll see lots of examples of compound words in English, compound nouns. We also do this in two-word phrases. For example, something like grocery store. I'll often hear the error where if you're following the sort of standard rule for American English, I'm going to the store, then you would stress on store. But because grocery store functions as a noun altogether, you actually have to stress grocery and less stress on store. I'm going to the grocery store, not I'm going to the grocery store. You can hear how if I'm stressing store and you're used to listening to the native speaker, that sounds slightly different. So compound nouns, both when both of the parts are one word or when it's two words, have the stress pattern with the main stress on the first word or first syllable and some secondary stress on the second word or syllable. This has come up before in some of our word of the day classes on particular words, but it's an overall pattern that I can hear a lot of non-native speakers make an error on it because it doesn't follow the sentence stress pattern rules that we're used to. And so your brain has taken what it hears in rules for sentences and applied it in these words, and then it doesn't really work out so well in the words. Great. So nice to see you here. Feel free to ask your questions at any time. We'll go through and answer them, give you some resources and help for what you're wanting to know today. We have a question I see for the phrase, how do you pronounce the easiest in the sentence, that's the easiest way, or that's the easiest method. So looking at the easiest, I will say that sometimes I tend to say the word the using a schwa. So I would say the easiest. The correct rule or pattern that we have is that when we have the word the and the next word starts with a vowel, we say it actually as the. The challenge with the easiest is that if I use the and then easiest, we may or may not see that glide in the dictionary, but it's there. The easiest is that then it's hard to hear where the word the ends and the word easiest starts, because I'm using that E. And so then you have to kind of make a little somewhat unnatural break there to make that smooth. The easiest way, the easiest way. If I put a glide, because I'm going from E to E, the easiest, it sounds weird, so I wouldn't recommend that. I would say the easiest way is to make a little break. Another option in this case is to say more the easiest. And even there, I still need a little break. So you'll hear a mix of both. I think most people tend to use the when it's followed by a vowel. I just have an unusual pattern of using the sometimes myself. So the easiest way, the easiest way. You should use whichever one is the easiest way for you. You can hear that naturally when I'm speaking, I use a mix of those two. So thank you. That's a really good observation you made and a good question, a challenging phrase to put together. Hi, Olvia. Nice to see you. We have a question about the word distinguish. So for distinguish, I'm thinking about the sounds here. So this is an example of one of the times that when we have NG in the middle, we actually say the NG sound and the G sound for it. So in some words like singer or singing, we only say that NG sound. In other words like finger, hunger, and distinguish, we say the NG sound and a G sound. So you might think about it like as being a break there. So I have distinguish, stress is on the second syllable. That first letter I is going to be an I sound, stress on sting, and then guish. We have the G sound, and this U, letter U, is going to be a W glide and an U sound, distinguish, guish. Actually, we don't really do much U in it, actually. So I'm going to retract that statement. It's going to be more like just the U forming that glide, the W sound, and then our SH sound. So there's what you'll see in the dictionary, distinguish. Rewriting it, I would write either di or even think about it like duh with the schwa. I don't want to be really heavy on the duh. I want to be really light in either case, distinguish. So starting with my sting syllable is going to help me get light on that. So sting, distinguish. And then I would just write the guish kind of like that. Distinguish. Yeah. So in order to be able to distinguish between sounds, we have to be listening. Then if I change it to distinguished, I just add a T. So that ED after the SH just makes a T sound, a distinguished gentleman. Okay, thank you. That was a good word, good request. We have a request for the word occur versus a curve. Okay, yeah. So in occur, we have a schwa in our first syllable. Second syllable starts with a k sound, and we have a stressed sound. So thinking about that like occur. And then interestingly, as you mentioned, a curve, the only difference is that we have this v sound at the end. So it's going to sound like a curve. Just make sure that you, after your sound, that you put the v on a curve. If you have trouble putting the v at the end, you could say a curve is, like a curve is coming. And then your V, you can put it more on the is word, a curve is, viz. That's going to help you link the two words and put that V on. So something is going to occur, and a curve is part of the road. Yeah, good observation that those words the word and the phrase are very similar in their pronunciation. Okay, we have a question about the English the vowel as in cat. Okay, so this viewer notes that they feel like sometimes they substitute the vowel for the vowel. I do have a number of videos talking about this, so look for my videos about man versus men, and I have several other videos as well. I can direct you to those after class. What I'm going to say is it's mostly about how low the tongue is and how open the mouth is. So in the vowels that are in the front, in the vowel diagram, you'll see we have the I sound like in bid, the sound like in bed, and the sound like in bad. And so for a lot of people, these two, the and the are challenging to make distinct from each other because your native language may have neither of them. You might also have trouble with this first one, but sometimes it helps to be able to feel all three because you need kind of three positions. So you need to be able to make these with a distinct amount of opening. So trying to start from the highest point, the bid, then go to the mid, bid, bed, bad. You should feel that your jaw opens and your tongue drops as you go through the three. Another way I've been teaching my clients to recognize this and feel this is knowing that our schwa sound, our sound, is central, and it's very similar to the central sound in terms of how open my jaw should be. So if you're trying to feel the difference between these two, you should feel if I'm saying a bed or a red tent, a bed, that the how open my mouth is doesn't change that much, versus if I'm saying a bad man, starting from my place, my jaw has to drop a little bit. A bad man versus a red tent, even for the schwa to and opening for the schwa to sound. Yeah, I would suggest that my specific videos about these vowels will help you, as well as my overall vowel overview videos and vowel lessons, because sometimes it's really about getting that relative placement between the different vowels, understanding what it is that you're making in terms of an error. Sounds like you kind of are aware it's a challenge between that mid and that more open vowel. Getting some word examples and then some other placement cues like schwa may help you as well. Great question. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a question about how to pronounce the word suggestion. I do have a video for this word. I can direct you to that after class. So suggestion has second syllable stress. The first syllable has the schwa, so it sounds like suggestion. It actually has a G sound, but I don't really say that first one, suggest. So I close off and stop the air to mark the G, but then I release right into the second letter G, which is a J sound. That's the IPA for that is this, but I'll rewrite it as a J to make it clear. Suggestion. So we have a red tent vowel there. Suggestion. And then chun, it's like question. We tend to use a CH sound. Suggestion. And then you can think about it as having a schwa here or an I sound, chin or chun. Suggestion, second syllable stress. If you need the IPA, I can add that as well, but I'll just rewrite it here with this alternate spelling to help you break it down and understand how to do that. Good suggestion. Thank you. Okay. We have a question about pronunciation of plurals in the words ending in AGE, as in manage, manages, storage, storages. Okay, so for manages, that's the verb, right? I manage, he manages. So it's adding the S to make the verb form. Manages, what we have there is the manage, we end with just the j sound. Manages, the letter S says the Z sound, and to be able to go from the j to the Z sound, we have to add the I sound. So in manage, I didn't spell that right. Not mange, but manage. In manage, the letter E is silent. In manages, it says an I sound. So manages. Storages, that's kind of storage sometimes is a plural by itself. So if I would say, we have several storages, probably that one doesn't get a plural, but you're just thinking of an example of when a word it ends in ij, garages. So in this case, garage, that's more of a j sound, but still we have to add the is. So if I'm adding plural to something that ends with a j or a j or sh, some other things, then that's when we have to add it as an is sound. It gets its own syllable. Yeah, thank you for that question. That's a good one. Okay. We have a comment about every time that I write a word, this viewer thinks she's saying the same thing, but she knows it doesn't sound the same. So figuring out for you what patterns come from your native language and where those differences are, you can try recording yourself and listening. You may be able to hear differences in the recording, especially if you have the native speaker and then your voice together. So I do have some materials on my website on speechmodification.com that you can use to hear a recording of me saying something, where you could record that recording and yourself and compare the two. You might be able to hear it more clearly, but you're right that your accent does act as a filter on your listening as well as your speaking. So being able to hear the differences in those vowel sounds and other sounds, when you hear an example of the incorrect way, and you also hear kind of what that's supposed to be like, that all will help you. But you're right, it's frustrating initially because sometimes to your ear it sounds the same, and to native speakers they can hear those differences. That's all part of the process though, and you will be able to change and overcome that if you work your way through sounds and patterns. So I would recommend on my website finding my materials that tell you kind of what patterns are in your native language. You can do that in our American Accent 6-week course or our Sounds of English course. I also have a lot of free downloads to help you with that. So leave me a comment later if you want me to direct you to some of those resources to help you. Okay, we have a question about the word appearance. So appear and appearance, we have second syllable stress. We have the ear diphthong. And so this first letter A is going to sound like it's going to be a schwa. Appearance. And then this letter A, we almost say nothing there. We just go right to a syllabic end, rinse, appearance. And then this letter CE, say the S sound, appearance. Nice, that's a good word, thank you. And then we have a question about the difference between those and does. So what we have here is the TH is formed with the tongue between the teeth. So if I'm saying the V sound, I should feel my tongue between my teeth, and also the air should be able to continue. Those versus does, my tongue is behind my teeth and it stops there and then releases. So does, I can't hold that D, versus those, I could hold the TH longer if I wanted to. It's a continuing sound. If you're a Spanish speaker, chances are these two sounds are kind of one sound for you, and you might be making them with the tongue behind the teeth and pushing against the teeth. So two things will help. One, instead of doze with the D pushing on the teeth, try putting your tongue behind your teeth on the roof of your mouth. Doze. Try it first with the T, toes, or an N or an L, lows, nose. You should feel it lifting and touching not against your teeth but behind. That will really help you make a difference between doze tip of the tongue against the roof of the mouth, and those, tip of the tongue between the teeth. If you do either of them with the tongue against the teeth, then it's going to kind of merge those two, and you won't hear the distinction between them very well. You can get a lot more help for that on my American TH playlist. It walks you through forming that American TH, and I have some videos just on the words those and does, as well as forming the TH that should help you. Great. We have a question about the words convincingly, perpetual, and duty. Okay, so convincingly, second syllable stress. Letters C-O-N have a schwa because they're unstressed. Convincing. Almost no vowel there. Just go right from your K to the N. Vince, you're going to have the I, lax if vowel, and the NS, just like we heard in acceptance or whatever our last word was that ended with since appearance. Convincingly. So fast on the unstressed syllables. Ingly, convincingly. Vince is your stressed syllable, and that's where you want your length. And then you also asked about perpetual. Same thing, second syllable stress. So the per is going to be short and unstressed. It will still have the sound. Don't let it become perpetual, but per. So you do need a light unstressed there. Per, thinking about it like small per. Petual, we say just like the word pet with the red tent vowel, but we don't really release that T. So not perpetual, but perpetual. We end up with a CH sound, petu. And then the chual is a CH and a Y glide, perpetual. And then a dark L at the end. It's a difficult combination. So perpetual, I'll change it so you can see the IPA there. We're going to have chew with a glide, perpetual. Length on pet, perpetual. Okay, hope that explanation didn't seem perpetual to you. It took me a long time to get you all of the sounds in your word. That's a tough word and a good one. Thank you for the request. And then lastly, duty. This is where we have a flap T, so it's going to sound more like a D. So duty. Very light and short on that flap and light on your second syllable. I believe I may have a video on that as well if you want more detail. One thing I made a quick video this week showing on my channel page. If you're on Speech Modification Seattle, the channel page for this channel, on your computer, on your laptop, in a browser, you can be on the channel page and there's a little search tool in the across the tabs. So you can go to videos, community, etc. You see the little search tool, there's a place where you can type and you can put in any word. If I have a video about that word, it's going to pop up for you, or a related video might pop up. If you use the search box up above, it's going to just open it up to all of YouTube, which is fine too. But if you want to know specifically if I have a video, you can use that little search tool. Right now, that doesn't work on your phone or on your device, so that's not great for that. You can also always leave a comment on any of my videos. And if I have a video for you, if I've already covered that, I'll send you a link to where that video is. Or if I haven't covered it, I'll add it to my list to cover in a future class. I'm a little behind on timestamps, so I do like to go back to these Friday classes and put a comment with some timestamps so you can go and see what things we've covered. I just haven't had time to do that for the last few weeks, but I will be getting caught up on there. So if you asked a question today that I didn't get to, or that I do have more resources and videos for, come back later, check in the comments, and you can go through and find those additional resources as well. Thank you. Lots of great questions today. We'll take a few more and then we'll need to wrap up for the day. I'll be back again tomorrow with Word of the Day, which we do every day. And on Sunday, we have our members only class. So it's a class just like this one, but it's a small group of members. they can also ask their questions at any time throughout the week. So if they can't make it to the live class, I still answer their questions for them. And membership is just one of the options now that YouTube is allowing me to offer as a way for you to support the channel, where you can join at various levels, and you pay a very small monthly fee to get some extra perks. So we have extra videos just for members, that extra weekly class, and a few other options for you. So you can click the join button and check that out if you're interested. And if you're not, don't worry, we still will have our Friday classes that are open to everyone as well. Okay, let's take a couple more questions. We have a question for task and tasks. So this, I did just cover your words in a word of the day, which I'm not sure if it's released yet. So watch for that soon if it hasn't. And if it has released, I'll put it in the comments for this, where I also talk about the word ask and asks. So I would build from that where you want to have first just your S sound, because doing the SKS is the challenge. So try and just tasks and hear how that S can continue. Then when I go to task, I add that K, task. I have to do this and K, sk. So you can practice that sound. Once you can say task, then add one more S, tasks. Sks. So it is possible to just do sks in sequence, and that may be what you need to be able to make it more easy to say tasks. It's not easy because my tongue has to move from the S position to the K and back to the S. It's really just a matter of, I would say, building it one piece at a time, tasks, so that you can really feel the difference between those different pronunciations. Yes, so again, I will be covering that soon, or I did just cover that recently. So you can get a more detailed explanation of how to practice for that one. Okay. So if it seems like I missed your question, I'm just going through in order that they were received. So let me just go back and make sure that, yeah, it looks like I've caught everyone's questions. Sorry if I miss you as we get to the end here. I may not be able to get to everybody, but I will go back through and give you some help later on if possible. Okay, we have a question about melancholy. Melancholy. This is kind of a weird one for spelling. We have first syllable stress on melancholy. And we have the red tent vowel. So red, melon. The letter A here is in an unstressed syllable, so it sounds like a schwa. Melon. And then CH in this word says the K sound. Letter O follows the rule for a stressed syllable. We probably have secondary stress on collie, so an ah vowel there. And then letter Y says the E. So rewriting it, melancholy. So most of our stress is in the first syllable, but clear vowel, a little bit of secondary stress on the second syllable. That's a great word. Thank you for that request. Okay. All right, we have a request about lock, luck, look, and loki. I'm not sure how to say that one because I don't know Marvel, but I'll do my best. Okay, so look, lock, luck, and then I'm gonna have to guess that one's probably loki. That would be if it had second syllable stress, or could be Loki with an E. But unfortunately, I'm not familiar with that name. So if somebody who's watching knows, you can put it in your comments. For these, lock, that letter O says the ah vowel. So you can think about it like an AH. Luck has the schwa vowel. Think about it like an sound. And look has the vowel. Think about maybe a word like could or push. That one's a rounded lax vowel. Generally, getting in these kinds of scenarios, when you have similar words that are just minimal pairs, it can be helpful to have another word to pair it with. So, for example, for lock, the ah vowel, you might want to think father, because often people say the ah easily in that word because it's spelled with an A. So, for example, my father's lock. And then for luck, maybe something like I have some luck, or the luck, again, thinking of that schwa being the same. Look, again, could look, or push and look. Pair those together because you might find it easier to put those vowels in those separate words. I do have a video about, I think, lock, luck, and some others. So that can help you out. And then for loki, again, or loci, those are just my two guesses, that we would have probably the O vowel, like no, and then the either E or I. So if it was loki with an E, then it's probably first syllable stress, or loci, probably second syllable stress. But those are just guesses on my part because I'm not familiar with that, as I mentioned. Thank you. Wonderful questions today. It's nice to see so many of you here live. And if your question came in towards the end and I didn't get to it, I apologize. We're out of time for today. So I'll be back again next Friday, as well as tomorrow. We'll have our Word of the Day class. And on Sunday, we'll have our class for channel members to answer their questions from the week. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to the channel, and especially my channel members. Your support is awesome. Wonderful to see you here week after week, and I look forward to seeing you again next Friday, same time. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Thank you.